While talking to Victor and Jason, Naruto also talked to Volcana. For her sake, Naruto had built a room filled with lava as he intended to strengthen her abilities to a higher level. All these criminals and heroes weren't just there for fighting, as Naruto also intended to get their genetic codes when needed. His goal was to become an ultimate being even before the need for power to defeat Madara. For that he would add everything that was useful. Volcana's biological makeup and others like her interested him as they didn't utilize chakra. He intended to use them as pawns and observe them after enhancing their abilities to hopefully produce stronger mutations. Once that happens, Naruto intended to combine their DNA with his own to further transform himself. It was something he needed to complete his goal of becoming the real emperor. This goal was something that others wanted at first, but it had become his personal desire and passion. Naruto was a kind and friendly person. But he was controlling and manipulative. It was his nature. He didn't fully trust anyone and he didn't really have strong emotions. He was just and fair in everything. Family, friend or an enemy, he would treat them according to his belief. Justice to all in equal measures. It didn't matter if it was his own blood or not. He was a playful person and slightly sadistic person, but he never made compromises or sacrifices. He was the ideal male. His looks were enchanting. His voice was soothing and powerful. Everything about him was shaped to make him the ideal leader of the world, and many powerful beings had worked on this human project. His goal of becoming the ultimate being aligned with Orochimaru, an enemy that had submitted to him just few months before the pain fight. The thought that Orochimaru and some of his traits matched was truly not a fun thought. But he would have loved to have the snake around for these projects. The man was a genius and master of genetic manipulation. With him around, Naruto wouldn't have to worry about things going wrong. Nonetheless, reality wasn't always ideal and he had to make do with what he had on hand. Leaving those thoughts behind, Naruto looked at the lost woman. She was easy on the eyes like Temari and Anko. But she was missing a lot in the mental department. Regardless, she would learn. With a thought, her seals deactivated and Volcana woke up with fiery rage. Volcana had a trauma about waking up at random places after what the government had done to her, so her reaction was predictable. Her flames reached 5,000 degrees Celsius, but Naruto didn't even feel them as they were too weak for him, especially to his armor. "Are you done, Claire?" Naruto stood there without any movement as she showered him with flames. Seeing the futility of her actions angered her and she was reminded of the super duo, Superman and Supergirl. "Who the hell are you?" Claire demanded as she stopped attacking him but remained very. "I am your ruler from now on. You can call me Emperor and I represent the will of humanity. Do you understand why you are here now, Claire?" Naruto replied calmly as he walked closer to the woman. "Hey, are you going to punish me?" Claire wanted to take him as a joke. His title of emperor felt too empty without an empire. But his voice and presence was undeniable. She licked her lips and stared defiantly at him. "Yes, I will punish you and then we will work together to make this world a better place. Claire, I know you are lost. You feel abandoned and frustrated, aimless. I give you an oath that you will have a place on my side. I will help you live a happy life and I will give you a purpose. How does that sound?" Naruto replied as he placed his hand on her cheek and looked into her eyes. His voice felt too sweet and enchanting. She saw what Naruto wanted. She skimmed through many things in life and found her desire to become part of fashion, a model. She always liked dressing up and showing off her good looks, but had forgotten such things because of the criminal life she had fallen into. "I would like that, but..." Claire didn't have a chance to continue as Naruto took her into his arms and kissed her on the lips. Women were emotional, more than men. Naruto liked beautiful women and he wanted complete control, so it worked out for him to act in such a way. For most of his female followers, he made them fall for him. He made them desire him. It was one of the strongest motivations and cause of loyalty. It was a scum-like move, but it was the best way to handle it and he didn't mind entertaining their interests. Claire was completely lost to the world and stuck to him like her life depended on it. The kiss melted away every negative thing. She felt happy and fulfilled in his arms. She was overwhelmed by the pleasure and couldn't even think. The kiss went on for 5 minutes and Naruto stopped. It wasn't just the pleasure, as Naruto had poured lava chakra into her body and given her a boost in power. It took Claire few minutes to catch herself, and she didn't move away from him. It was the first time she felt so comfortable around someone. "Is this another reason for me to follow?" Claire asked as she looked at the masked face, wondering what he looked like. The kiss and his voice had given her very high expectations. "It is, if you want to be so. This was not all of it as you were unable to handle the whole thing. Do you really trust me with this power?" Claire could feel the power. She felt invincible. She felt like the world could be lit up with a thought. "I trust my judgment. I know you will not dare act out of line. There is happiness and pleasure with my approval, only death and suffering with my disapproval. Understood?" Naruto replied as his hand moved through her orange hair. It was his favorite color. Claire felt his affection and killer intent. She definitely wanted the first and not the second. I understand. What do you need of me? Claire asked as she still didn't know any details. We will talk about it once you wake up. Naruto smiled as Claire fell into her punishment. Fortunate for her, she wasn't too bad or her suffering would have been great. With that the clone disappeared and Naruto recovered one of his parallel mind slots. At the same time another Naruto woke up Firefly. The man was still in his suit and woke up acting normal. He was used to taking orders from people, so he didn't react violently towards someone that could kidnap in such a manner. How can I be of service? Firefly asked his armored client, suppressing the dread inside his heart. He was quite terrified being in this position. Naruto looked at the human scum that enjoyed watching people burn, especially children. Nothing much, I want your life. I want you to repay the debt born from your crimes against humanity. From this day forth, you will serve without any hesitations. This is your second chance at life, one mistake and you won't live through it. Naruto replied as he slammed Firefly against the floor by his neck. It was an impact that could have easily killed him, but Naruto controlled his actions to only break some of his bones. Hearing those words and feeling the pain, Firefly felt his fear levels increase dramatically. He felt like death was staring at him. Yes, I will do anything. Please, don't kill me. Unlike the others, Firefly was cowardly and didn't have the guts to fight against strong foes or stare death in the eyes. Your consent was never required. You will serve and you will change. This is your second chance, so relax and let us make the best of it. You want a comfortable life with your singer girlfriend? No problem. I can arrange that. I can make you famous and powerful. You will be remembered as a hero. That is where I will lead you, a happy and successful life. Naruto finished up the talk with the temptations with his powerful voice and powers. Just like all the other victims of his whispers, Firefly fell to his words and seeds of loyalty were planted. With that taken care of, Naruto gave him the fire chakra and the punishment. Firefly, just like Victor and Man-Bat, was a science guy. He had the capability to make such gear and utilize it. With the resources and help from other intelligent beings, he would go even beyond. It was the reason why Naruto took him in. Before disappearing, Naruto also cured his pyromania. It was the reason for his fall. He just loved seeing things burn. Finishing up with Jaina, Naruto walked to the only other guest that he could like other than Jason. Even Jaina came third on the list because she had acted terribly by letting criminals out to cause mayhem. The motive might have been good, but the methods were unacceptable. Jenna, also called the carpenter, came second as she was more like a thief. She only ended up working for criminals as they liked her skills. To her it was easy money, so she worked with criminals and built them secret bases with traps and such. Jenna was an orphan and had no one to support or get support from. She wasn't someone selfless. She was selfish and greedy. These were qualities expected in criminals, so there was no surprise there. With a thought, the brown-skinned beauty with large proportions in the right places woke up. There was no denying that she was an attractive woman, and just like the rest, Naruto intended to make her serve him. Naruto took his seat in the large room that gave a classy look and was made for people of noble background. Jenna woke up with a start and looked to the side. She saw Naruto and turned around, and went back to sleep. Her reaction was surprising and made him chuckle. Jenna, this isn't a dream. Naruto spoke in a friendly tone as he looked at the woman trying to sleep. I know, so I was just making sure. I am warning you, I am expert with these tools. Jenna stood up on the bed and took hold of her nail gun and portable electric saw. Looking at the feisty woman, Naruto smiled. Relax, Jenna, I want to hire you and give you a safe place in this world. Naruto spoke with power in his voice to help her relax and feel safe. He gave her the basic information that everyone got, so she could see the proper picture. Jenna realized that her tools weren't going to even scratch the man and sat down like a good girl. His voice and mannerism also helped to give a good image. It was the first time she was taken by some super being of such caliber and attitude. Looking at the screen showing his actions, it wasn't hard for her to guess that change would take place. The man was damn scary. He sounded and looked so nice, but his actions were extremely cruel. From his tone, it wasn't hard to tell that he didn't even consider criminals human. Nonetheless, Jenna didn't feel scared. He was just too convincing and knew her like an open book. Okay, I can see what you are doing and it looks achievable. But, why do you want me to stay? Jenna understood everything except the reason for her staying. She was a normal human with building skills, that's it. I like having my place look beautiful, classy and suitable for my image. I think it is not appropriate for the emperor to design and do everything. I want people for things that do not necessarily require my personal touch. Other than that, I believe that you are talented and worth cultivating. I also find you attractive and wish to keep you safe. You have enemies, Jenna, staying with me is the safe choice. Naruto answered her question. It was the truth. Naruto didn't handle weak enemies personally and had his servants deal with them. He had all these servants to keep his leadership skills sharp and not get used to working alone. He was not a soldier or an assassin, he was the emperor. Jenna blinked continuously, as she didn't expect to get praised for her looks and skills from such a man. His voice made it hard to deny his words, and she liked to think it was the truth. Hearing his words, she couldn't deny them logically either. He was the emperor according to his words, and truly no top dog had ever been seen making things with their own hands when the workforce was available. It was not good for PR. Let's say I agree, so do I have to stay inside all the time? No, you are free to move around after the training. You will just have to move around in a different form to avoid getting caught. From now on, your real form will be associated to me. Is that good enough? So if I do well I get unlimited wealth and large mansions? Yes, you will be my personal architect and get the suitable compensation as long as you keep working hard. I dislike slackers, so your looks won't save you from the boot if I find you slipping. Naruto replied as he got up and walked closer. Jenna looked at the extended hand and took it without hesitation. This was the best offer she had ever gotten in her life. Unlimited riches were just too good to turn down, and there was also safety. I agree with the arrangement, Jenna said before she found herself overtaken by pleasure. She found Naruto physically attractive, his voice, looks and mannerism were that good. But, she wasn't the type to indulge in such things and was mostly taken by material possessions. Regardless, Naruto's magic touch was undeniable and Jenna found desire flooding her system. I said I find you attractive, Jenna. Naruto held her tightly, and he enjoyed the experience as well. Jenna didn't have the energy to remove herself from his embrace, and she didn't even feel like it. She really wanted to kick him for the kiss. It made her thirsty, extremely so. She knew what he was doing, and it was hard to resist playing into his hands. Are you going to take me or what? Ha ha ha, I thought you were not into such things. How would I do that when you go and do this? Jenna complained openly as she looked him in the eyes. She was acting like usual now that the situation was clear. I guess you are right. But, think it through, because you will never leave my side once it happens. You will get addicted to me, would you like that? Naruto asked as his roamed her beautiful form, his words and eyes extremely enchanting. Jenna felt her reason fight against her desire. Naruto smiled and gave her another kiss that sent her to the dream world. Naruto poured wood-style chakra into Jenna so she could do her job to the best of her abilities. He also gave her memories of infrastructure he had witnessed to give her another boost. Other than not wanting to do it personally, talent was also a thing. Naruto could get the memories of people, but he didn't get their talents. If he was better than the owner of the memory, he would perform better. On the other hand, if he didn't have the talent for the field, he would do worse than the owner of the memory. He could copy everything done in the memories most of the time, but without talent and proper work put into it he would not innovate and he would just copy. With the talk finished, Naruto disappeared and there was only one clone left in the base. The guests got an hour to take everything before Naruto had a talk with Jason and brought him to the meeting room. Good evening my loyal servants, I hope you understand where you stand. Naruto greeting them all and took a seat. His armor disappeared and the rest finally saw his human form. Jason sat on his right and Konan on his left. Everyone was in their real form, and not their public forms. All of them took in his looks and the girls were definitely pleased with it, even more when they learned that there was more to come. Killer Croc didn't say a thing as he sat down. He was pleased with his new appearance and power. The punishment was also a good reminder why he shouldn't mess with his new boss. Every second he had experienced was the worst thing in his life and he felt terrible about his deeds after being forced to feel what others had felt. I understand. Is there anything I can do? Clayface sat down on his seat looking like human-sized statue. He loved his human form, it was even better than the past. He was reminded of everything from the past and understood how far he had fallen. The pain and suffering of others also drilled through his heart. He felt intense desire to move forward and quickly return to the real world, and become a big star. Naruto smiled and just gave him a signal to wait. Man-Bat was also happy with the arrangements, especially after seeing what Naruto had done. In a single day, majority of Gotham had been cleansed from the filth. He also found the concept of working with geniuses like Freeze very interesting. He nodded and sat down to see what Naruto had to say. Freeze looked at Naruto and sat down quietly. He was impressed by the power and definitely afraid of the punishment. Naruto didn't lie. He was one scary and cruel bastard. Feeling the new power inside his body, Freeze had hope for his wife and he was willing to repay his debt. He understood that he had fallen too deep and needed to get out before his wife woke up, or she would be disappointed in him. Firefly sat down like a little mouse after what he had gone through. He was terrified of making Naruto angry and filled with guilt for what he had done. He just wanted to quickly fill up his heart with good deeds to get rid of the uncomfortable feelings and get off the scum list. Pamela was happy with the power-up and the feel of the base. She also liked Naruto's appearance and the idea of working together with him to revive the planet. On the other hand, she was also terrified of his anger and wanted to quickly slip through his defenses to carve a place in his heart. It was for safety purposes and he was undeniably too hard to resist. Looking at the others in the room, she could see that the other women were also attracted to him and he was intent of making them all want him. He was definitely a controlling bastard, but he wasn't even hiding it. It was an open challenge to them and he knew that he was irresistible. Volcana, Jenna and Jaina were the same. They found a deeper desire to follow him and they enjoyed the increase in power. Volcana found herself attracted to Naruto more than others because she found a place in him. Jenna wasn't so far off either and she found him attractive for the knowledge shared and the power along with the rest. Jaina found herself attracted to him for his actions and power, and partly his appearance. Konan was calm and collected as always. Naruto had yet to make a move on her and he was delaying it until she acknowledged him. Finally, Jason just observed the others cautiously. He understood that he would be working with criminals from now on, but seeing them all gathered was different from the mental image. Have you understood my goal or do you need another explanation? Naruto asked once all of them were seated. They were looking at him or observing each other. We understand. All of them echoed except Jason and Konan. None of them were used to Naruto and didn't know how to deal with him yet. So, they were playing it safe and not acting out of line. I have gathered you here to let you know about your teammates. All of you will work together and help each other out. I won't tolerate any of you fighting each other or making trouble. For now, all of you will go through training to get used to the new power. Once the training is over, you will operate in the outside world according to my commands. You will fight and kidnap criminals that I intend to recruit. You will only kill when I tell you to kill. Jason? Naruto told them about his current plan for them. Jason raised his hand. Who are we going to kill? Once our group has been established in a city and our message has spread, then you are allowed to kill every criminal in that city if they haven't changed their ways. Second chances are for people who don't know us and have no reason to feel threatened by our message. Even among people that get second chances, they die the moment any of them breaks a rule. Naruto replied calmly and all of them felt the urge to find the bomb on their body. They knew that explosives were planted them. It was terrifying not knowing where it was located and how it worked. Moving on from that fear, Pamela spoke up. Does that mean we will have to out our lives on the line to incapacitate others? What about the heroes and the security forces? How do we deal with them? Pamela and the others did feel guilty for their actions and had many reasons to follow Naruto's vision, but putting their lives on the line for criminals was taking it too far. Some of them looked down and some looked straight at him, confirming that all of them had similar thoughts. You will have to face danger, but I will always be there for you. In the case of powerful enemies, you will have my direct support. I have no wish to have any of you killed in such a way. That would make me a terrible leader. You will fight and you will win. I will make sure of that. We will try to avoid getting into conflicts with the heroes and the government most of the time. Though, a fight with them is inevitable. You are not allowed to kill any one of them until ordered to do so. With how you are moving, Emperor, the suicide squad and such will definitely be dispatched. Is this place really safe? The enchantress can easily find her targets if she has a clue. Croc spoke up about his former gig and was worried about getting caught again. He couldn't tell where they were at the moment, but the safety was unknown. You don't have to stress yourselves over such minor things. All of you have teleportation tags on your body, so I can move you anywhere I desire. This place is protected by the spirit of the world and other magical techniques. And, just in case of emergencies, there are multiple secret bases around the country. Croc nodded. He felt better about that and saw that the leader was taking in many things into consideration. He wasn't being arrogant and careless. Are we going to stay here until practice is done, or we are allowed to move around normally? Volcana asked as she really didn't like being imprisoned in any place. You are allowed to move around normally. Practice isn't a 24-hour things, so you can live outside the base with your new appearances. Is it really safe for us to do that or should we wait till later? Clayface asked. He was itching to start over but he wanted to be careful. There is no problem. Just, avoid using your powers in your new forms. These are there to give you a hidden identity and avoid detection. I have already prepared apartments for all of you, so you can visit them tomorrow. Your financial needs are also taken care of to a level I approve of. Right now, you are still not worthy of a bigger allowance, so don't try to make trouble about it. Will our powers keep on growing with your approval? Jason asked. He was happy with the current level of power but it was never going to be enough. Yes, your powers will keep on growing if you keep on doing an excellent job. Any other question? The room was silent. Are we going to move from city to city and repeat what happened in Gotham? What about the political aspect? Jaina asked. Yes, we will fix each place and bring them peace. We will not ignore the politicians, but those things will be dealt later. With those words it was confirmed for everyone that he was going to take over the country. With the question and answer session finishing, Naruto started instructing the team about their powers and where to train. He also had the researchers make a list of items required for their operations. While Naruto was doing his thing, Justice League members had come in contact with Laura. She had gone directly to the watchtower once Naruto left as she trusted them and their abilities. It wasn't new for the JL that someone came for their HQ for an attack or request, so Hal Jordan went outside to greet the guest. Hal was the first Green Lantern from Earth and a founding member of JL. There were 2 other lanterns, but they wouldn't be found together on Earth most of the time. Among the JL members, he was one of the strongest and had the heaviest backing. The Green Lanterns were a giant force, and fighting against them was not a logical choice unless there was an army that could rival them. Regardless, Hal was a selfless person like his colleagues. He wasn't too serious and a chill guy. Looking at Laura, he didn't recognize the Moon Maiden. There was no data or memories to look through, as all had been deleted because of the Centurion's device. "Hello, my fair lady, what brings you to these dark lands?" Hal spoke in a friendly tone as he saw Laura and found her charming. Hal was a ladies' man and had many flings. Laura smiled at those words before feeling a little bit sad. She had known Hal for 2 years and now the man didn't even know her. "I am the Moon Maiden, and I have come to you for help. It is a serious situation that the Justice League needs to be aware of." Laura pushed down her discomfort and appealed to Hal in an honest and sincere tone. Moon Maiden? The name doesn't ring a bell. Hal thought about it, but nothing. Regardless, it was his duty to listen. "Okay, I will take you to the meeting room," Hal said after a moment with a friendly smile, and Laura was guided to the Public Hall of Justice instead of the Watchtower since they didn't want it getting destroyed or hacked. Laura didn't show any sign of surprise or annoyance from being brought to the Hall of Justice. She knew how the team operated and walked into the room without Hal's guidance. Inside the room, Aquaman was present along with Martian Manhunter, and Batman was listening while working on something else. Majority of the members were busy elsewhere and would be informed when needed. Batman was the core member of the JL with Superman and was the mind of the group, so most meetings needed his presence to feel complete. Though, even without him the present members could handle it. Laura took in the sight of the members and smiled with nostalgia. They really hadn't changed at all in these years. "It looks like you know us a lot, young lady." Aquaman, also known as Arthur, spoke as he saw her expression. He was the king of Atlantis and was rarely available for league business. He was present to get away from his possessive wife and the stressful work for a moment. He had lived most of his life on the surface, so he went out of the water to chill when stress reached high levels. Regardless, Arthur was good at reading people because of his experience and was a strategic mind on the team. Also known as John Jones, also picked on that clue because of his telepathic abilities. The rest of the team also agreed to the point, and Batman's attention shifted to Laura. "That is true, I know all of you and you know me as well. I have worked with the Justice League for 2 years and learned under most of you. I was the Moon Maiden that helped guide humanity to a better future. But, all of that changed when my nemesis started erasing people with his device. The man is called Centurion and he has existed since the Roman Empire. He has always tried to take over humanity, but he couldn't because of many factors. Somehow, he managed to create a device that erased people from reality. He started using it on heroes and we came into conflict. I took him up in the sky and caused the device to explode. This deleted us from reality. It was supposed to, but I returned and I think he is also back. I wish I could handle him alone, but I am not strong or competent enough for such a task." Laura was happy that they could pick up on the body language and tone. She told them everything that they needed to know about what happened and the threat. The moment erasing from reality was mentioned, all attention was on Laura. "That was not something to jest about. You are back, but we don't have memories about you. Is it just us or everyone else?" Batman asked as his mind had fully shifted to her now. Laura was happy to see that, as Batman could definitely handle the problem. "It is everyone. I visited my family and looked for any remains, but there was nothing. My existence from the world is gone, and the same for the Centurion. There is nothing about him, even though he used to be part of the history books. His name is Valkus and he was in the JL database before the incident," Laura replied as she looked at him with hope-filled gaze. Batman did a check, and just as she said, "Nothing. It was a good story, but there was nothing to prove it. It could easily be a trap. It could be the truth. But with the lack of any evidence, it was a gamble with 50-50 ratios. Your request has been heard, but it lacks evidence. Moon Maiden, can you prove any of your claims?" Just like she had expected, Batman was never going to be easy. She knew him and trusted his judgment. Laura looked around the room and thought back on anything that only the group would know. Green Lantern was in a relationship with Star Sapphire. Batman has romantic interests for Catwoman and Superman has Lois Lane. Wonder Woman had a fancy for Batman and Superman. The JL is afraid of Raven from the Teen Titans. Flash has changed the timeline multiple times. Is that enough? Laura replied as she only knew so much about them. Most of the other details were common knowledge. "Do you have an ability relating to love or something?" Hal asked as he chuckled at her words. He hadn't known about the Wonder Woman thing at all. "I can tell when someone has strong emotions for another. I can tell if a person is good-natured or not. I can't be a good guide if I can't tell such basic things. That is not enough. All this could be gathered very easily by observing us for a time. Batman put a stop to any warm reception with his cold words. Laura looked at him and she could only think of mind reading. Should she allow them to read her mind? Her existence was gone, and by reading her memories, they could at least form a deep bond of trust. Read my memories, Mr. John, Laura called out to the Martian, who had been sitting silently as usual. Her words surprised everyone as her actions would open up everything, especially since John's was a specialist. Are you sure about this? Johns asked in a calm tone. He was the last of his kind, but even then, he was a gentle soul that wished to help others. Johns was a green-skinned man wearing blue spandex and his chest was mostly bare. His kind had been exterminated by his brother, who had created a virus that reacted to the powers of the Martians and caused them to burst into flames. He was someone who had watched his wife and daughter burn in front of his eyes. John had gone through tragedies and wished to help others avoid them. He looked cold, but he was one of the kindest among the bunch. I am sure. I have nothing to hide and I trust all of you with my life, Laura replied in a determined tone as she stood tall. Do we really need to do this? Moon Maiden, you can just give us the information on Valkus and we will keep a lookout for him. You don't need to have your memories read. Hal spoke up as he felt uncomfortable for Laura. Arthur tapped the table and nodded. He isn't wrong. Reading your memories and your verbal response will have the same result. Your willingness showed that you don't have anything to hide, and even reading your mind wouldn't have cleared you completely. It isn't impossible to have fake memories. What do you think, Batman? Batman closed his eyes and analyzed Laura. He agreed with their words and wouldn't trust the memory reading completely. All of them were experienced in the field, so it would be an amateurish mistake to just trust things. It is your choice, Moon Maiden. The facts put forth by my colleagues are the truth, and you should be aware of them. I am aware, but I want all of you to know me. I apologize, but my choice wasn't about logic but an emotional desire. Laura laughed awkwardly as she looked down. Her words brought them back to the human side of things. Laura was just 18 and her whole life was erased. She had no one in the world. The mental and emotional drain from such a thing was horrendous. Please take a seat, I will do my best and we will surely fix this problem. Johns walked to her side and gently sat her down. Laura didn't resist and she felt happy about the warm approach. It was the same as the past. She had been closest to Hal, Superman, John, and Diana, so it was nice to see that they hadn't fallen. Laura closed her eyes and John dived into her mind, taking everything with utter ease. His abilities made Naruto look like a child and he could easily cover the whole planet with his powers, and kill every living being. John connected with the rest and showed them the memories like they were watching a movie. They watched from the point of her birth to the current date. Laura had been a special child and her memories showed it thoroughly. She had not lied and the threat was something that couldn't be ignored. Valkus had the power to control spirits. He could make a ghost army. It would be bad enough that he could have human ghosts, but if he got his hands on stronger beings then shit would hit the fan. There was also the problem that Valkus could affect Moon Maiden negatively. They would need to find him before he built an army. The memories could be false but the JL didn't mind keeping an eye out for trouble. They now just had another threat to watch out for. They didn't need to watch all the memories, but even they understood the importance of support. Laura needed emotional support. By seeing her life, they could see her personality and her connection to them. She had spent days with each of them and gotten advice from them. All of it was natural and they could see it happening. Batman stopped things where she met Naruto. Who is that? The question was put forth but there was no answer. None of them knew him. From Laura's perspective, they could see that Naruto was extremely powerful and his presence was huge. He made her feel small. His mannerism and tone showed that he was a noble and came from a rich background. His attitude towards them showed that he considered them beneath him. They needed to watch out for another threat as it wasn't hard to guess what Naruto was intending. He was going to kill people. He hadn't done anything yet and he was civil, so they might be able to talk it out. More than the Centurion, Batman felt more danger from Naruto. It was a gut feeling and he had never been wrong. Moon Maiden, I wish to visit the Lunar Villa. That Emperor figure is dangerous, so we need to locate him before he starts a killing spree. Batman spoke up as the process finished and he contacted Zatanna on the other hand as he needed her magical expertise. Laura didn't feel any change in her mind. It was a smooth procedure. Though, hearing Batman's words she felt bad about Emperor. Emperor had given her the push to stand up and helped her out of the slump. His words had not been wrong but she also understood that he might be dangerous. He isn't a bad person according to my abilities and our meeting. Please avoid a serious confrontation with him. I can't guarantee such a thing, but I will avoid conflict if possible. He hasn't taken any step yet, so there isn't any need for such action plans. Though, how sure are you about your judgment? I have never been wrong. Don't worry Laura, we will handle him appropriately. He is your friend, so that's the least we can do for him. Hal cheered her up with his words as he patted her small back. She had taken off her armor in front of them and just wore a black dress. Laura knew she couldn't avoid them getting in conflict with Emperor, so she just hoped that it didn't get too serious. All of them were on the same side in the end, as it would be tragic if any of them fell. She took them to the villa and Batman searched the area for clues. Zatanna appeared in the villa from her connection to Batman and used her magic to track down Naruto. There is no trace of a living being. It feels like the planet was visiting. The energy is all natural. Digging deeper, we can see that it was Batman. Zatanna joked as she used her magic to recreate everything. She showed them the energy vision and just as she said, it was same as the planet. Stripping the armor away, it was Batman under it. The guy has a sense of humor. Hal and Arthur laughed at the scene. Even Zatanna and Laura gave a chuckle. Batman had a dull reaction like always as he only saw someone who was extremely cautious. There was no clue to track him down. He had no presence. Like a ghost he could move around and they wouldn't notice. Is there no way to track him? Is he a conceptual being or something physical? I can't tell. I will need to meet him in person to make that conclusion. Tracking him is impossible since he only left your presence and the planet's energy behind. Why not ask Wonder Woman? She could get in contact with Gaia. Zatanna tapped her top hat with the wand and suggested a solution to the problem. When people talked about the planet, Gaia was usually involved in some way. And guys, this is the end. See you next time. Peace.